Elburn, Illinois is on the far western outskirts of the Chicago metro area. Elburn also happens to be the last stop on the Metra's Union Pacific West Line. Other than that, it's just basically a small suburban community, and suburban expansion continues to develop here at its own pace. Well, let's get to it, shall we? I don't try to start my videos while parked on the side of a street in a residential subdivision, but for whatever reason, the nearby park was blocked off and people were out working on landscaping and stuff, so I had to improvise. Currently, I'm on the far southwestern part of town. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the evil monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos with amazing insights on other places like what you see here can be found in my Illinois playlist, my Chicago Suburbs playlist, or in my U.S.A. Small Towns playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. West of here, the land looks just like this for miles and miles. In fact, due west, you don't reach a sizable metro area until you hit Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 165 miles away, which isn't all that big. Of course, for all the smart Alecs out there, Rockford isn't too far northwest, and the Quad Cities area is closer if you head a little bit southwest, but the point is that the agricultural farmland of Illinois expands for miles and miles, while Chicagoland only takes up a small portion of the state geographically. With that said, there are about 9.5 million people that live in the Chicago metro area when you take out the lone Indiana and Wisconsin counties, as we're just focusing on the Illinois population here. In contrast, there are about 12.5 million people in the state of Illinois, which means that 75%, or 3 out of every 4 people, of all Illinois residents live within the Chicago metro area. That just shows you how big Chicagoland is, and while also showing you how vast and rural the rest of the state is. Currently, I'm heading towards the high school as it's several miles west of town. It's common to see high schools out in the boonies with school districts that serve a large area such as the Kaneland School District. If you're not about that chewing tobacco and hilljack country boy life, or if you just simply don't care about seeing the high school, I've provided timestamps down below that show you when I go through other places of note in the small good old boy town of Elburn. And here is Kaneland High School, where cigarette smoke fills the restrooms throughout the school. Just kidding, I can't confirm if it does or doesn't. Wouldn't surprise me if it did, though. The mascot is the Knights, and among the most notable alumni include Don Beebe, who's the father of current Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Chad Beebe, and the current head coach of the Minnesota Gophers football team, PJ Fleck. Now I head back towards town and I continue to speed up the video until I get there. In the meantime, imagine all of this farmland being taken over by subdivisions. It's very possible that it will happen in the next 20 years. It's also very possible that it stays the same, and I guess we'll never know until the future comes. I mean, growth has slowed down overall for the Chicago metro area, but newer single-family housing is always going to be in demand, I feel like. It goes without saying that all of this is newer housing, and as Elburn is about an hour drive from downtown Chicago, along with being the last stop on the Union Pacific West Metro Transit line, you can see that suburban expansion continues to be a thing to this day. About a 15-minute drive east of here are the cities of St. Charles and Geneva, which are some older, yet fancier suburbs of Chicago. In 1960, Elburn was only home to 960 people, whereas today it's home to way more than that as growth continues. Seems as if Elburn is a hotbed for newer housing. Also, Kane County is one of the few counties in Illinois that is expected to see a population growth during the last 10 years, and that can be due to what I've been discussing, which is continued suburban expansion. Today, Elburn is home to around 6,000 residents, the median household income is over $100,000 per year, and the poverty rate is only 3.3%. The median value of owner-occupied housing is $280,000, which is actually pretty affordable for a city with a median household income of 6 figures. Over 40% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher. Niche.com gives the public schools a B, and the crime rates are basically non-existent. That crime rate stat is for all the weirdos who fear that having a transit line extend to their town is going to raise the crime rates.
How incredibly rude of you to call people who think differently than you weird. Also, what do you have against good old country boys? Stop judging us.
Oh boy, first off, I thought that you country boys and gals were the ones who got offended the least by casual jokes. Guess I was wrong. Everyone gets offended in 2021. Look, let's all calm down and agree that living in a neighborhood like what I'm driving through here would be nice. This entire subdivision that I've been driving through is nearly bigger than the original town of Elburn itself. At this point, we will start to see a few empty lots on streets already built, as houses are just waiting to continue to be built in this community. At some point in the future, all of this land to the right easily will be newer housing. We're on the side of town that's closer to Chicago, so this part is much more likely to be developed than the land that's over by the high school that I drove past earlier in the video. And here you can start to see newer homes under construction. Something that I've talked about in a lot of recent videos is suburban expansion, as I've been exploring the outskirts of Chicagoland, but it's really the first time that we've seen newer homes being built in any of the videos. Not just in my recent videos, but likely throughout all of my Illinois videos so far, we have not seen newer construction, as population growth in the state's cities continues to be far and few between. Directly to the left is the Elburn Metro Station, which is the last stop along the Union Pacific West line. A commenter in my DeKalb video gave a pretty good explanation as to why the mass transit line seems to randomly stop here and not extend out towards DeKalb. Meanwhile, the most recent Google Maps satellite photo of this area shows this bridge over the Union Pacific tracks in the construction phase, so all of this is very new. And now we transition from the newer residential subdivisions to the older parts of town. Remember, as in 1960, Elburn was home to only 960 people, whereas today it's home to 6,000 and is likely to continue to grow as it has the convenience of Chicago's mass transit. Back around 1835, however, all there was here was a halfway house, as it was halfway between Chicago and Oregon. No, not the state of Oregon, the town of Oregon, Illinois. Once the railroad tracks came through, there was a station built here in 1854. Elburn incorporated as a village in 1886 with the original name as Blackberry Station. The railroad requested a name change for whatever reason, and the name of Melbourne came up, but for whatever reason they wanted to drop the M and call it Elburn. In the 1990s, suburban expansion really kicked in for the place, and in 2006 the metro line was extended to Elburn. Make sure to drop a like for that amazing insight. The original town, which is very small, definitely has the feel of a rural small town, very different from the newer parts of Elburn that we've seen throughout this video. Since people like it when I point things out like the local library, to the right is the Elburn Public Library. Or I guess it's called the Town and Country Public Library. And here is Main Street, which we will stay on it throughout the rest of this video. To the right here is the original Elburn High School. The mascot was the Trojans. Before 1930, all of K-12 was in this building. In 1958, Kaneland High School was built, and this became Elburn Elementary School, until 1984. Today it's a community center. In this video you saw how Elburn is growing at a rapid rate, and even though it's only grown by several thousand, it's a place that had only 960 people in 1960, so that means that it's grown by 6 times its original size in a time span of 60 years. It's likely to continue to do so as suburban expansion continues to be a trend, and newer housing continues to be a demand. I do end the video here. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video of an area near you. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos with amazing insights on other places like what you see here can be found in my Illinois playlist, my Chicago Suburbs playlist, or in my USA Small Towns playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace!